And we're live.
Hey
Hello,
guys,
everyone.
we're live. Welcome back to the Pacecast, our weekly podcast live on YouTube about everything with RC drifting. So, quick introduction. I'm Tijs from Enjoy RC, and then through the magic of the internet, on the other side of your screen, we have James Simpson from RC Boss, and most of all, Pace,
That'd be me.
the channel you're on right now. Yeah, so welcome back to another live podcast. I think we're pretty much on time again this week.
Just
A
about.
few
Just
minutes late
about.
as usual. It always takes a little bit of some time to set everything up, but yeah, we're here. And as always, we have quite a program to go through. We're gonna obviously talk a little bit about the coronavirus because it's going on everywhere since last week.
I think it's pretty much
A lot
impossible
of
not to
measures.
talk about it.
Exactly. It couldn't be a show this week without talking about coronavirus. So we'll get to that later. Obviously, we have some new products, some product updates that are long awaited. So we're going to talk about those. You might have seen the teasers already on Facebook and Instagram about what we're going to talk about. And some more events, some more event submissions. So yeah, keep sending those in the coming weeks so we have stuff to talk about and some cool things from around the world to share with everyone. Yeah, and as always, we're live. So if you want to join in the live chat, feel free to send us any questions, any comments. We're happy to try and answer any of them. And if we don't get to it, we'll leave it for next week.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should kick off with what, for me, the big news this week.
Yeah, let's just dive in straight away.
Yeah, man. So we've got some information about Acuvance and Futaba updates. Anyone who's been running the Xarvis XX and the 7PX or 7PXR knows that currently the S-Bus adapter isn't working properly. It sort of works, you can get it to update, but officially it's not working. Well, that's about to change. There's some updates coming from Futaba Acuvance in the, well, I can announce it's actually coming next month, mid-April. I think it's happening. I'm lucky enough that I've been sent updates today to test out. I'm helping both Futaba and Acuvance with the updates, making sure that they work properly with all the hardware and stuff like that, and helping them with some translation stuff. And yeah, I've put it on my car today, and it works beautifully. It made me very happy because I've been missing the ability to use the S-Bus adapter and just update everything via 7PX. So I'm super happy. There is a new part which I can probably show you easier with a picture. It's a small wire, an adapter wire, that is needed to update the S-Bus adapter itself. So today I've got updates for the 7PX itself, the S-Bus adapter, and the Xarvis XX. So it doesn't take very long to update. It's pretty easy. There is this little adapter with the pins just to plug into the basically to convert the S-Bus full-size servo plug to the the smaller servo plug to the full-size servo plug that's on the update device. Doesn't take very long. Took me maybe 5 minutes to do all three devices. So I'm now on 7PX software 6.1, which is good. There is some more updates coming from Futaba. Basically, the update that I'm running at the moment just has the new Acuvance features in. It doesn't have the updates coming from Futaba as well. So they will, I think it's mid-April that they're coming as well. But yeah, it should be very good, I think, when they come, because already it feels good to be back to where we were before. And I've immediately got more power on my car. That's the first thing I did. Can I add more power easily? I had some weird glitches with mine because I kind of broke my ESC, as I think we spoke about before when we were in Denmark. So now I know it's all good and back to normal because I've managed to put things exactly as they were before, and it feels exactly the same. So that's good. That's a good start.
What does it allow you to set up? Because it basically just replaces having to have a Tau 2 to set things up.
Essentially, yeah. I mean,
or?
I still highly recommend having a Tau 2 because it allows you to save multiple setting files. So currently with the 7PX, you can only update the ESC. You can't pull the settings from the ESC and save them to files to recall later. So with the Tau 2, I've got a setup for one track and then a different one for a different track, and I just flick between them when I arrive at the track. Or if you're using the 7PX, you have to just manually enter the settings that are different and send them again. So it's still worth having, but it does let you change all of the settings you can change on the ESC itself, as well as it allows telemetry. So I have motor RPM, ESC temperature, motor temperature, battery voltage, and one other setting that I forget which one it is. But yeah, you've got the ability to have on the 7px and 7pxr, you can have them on the screen always with peak values showing you what you've hit. With the 4pm, which this also works with, I don't know if you can have it on the screen because I've never actually used one. I literally touched one for the first time when I was in Denmark, and that was just to get somebody set up and running. So I'm not 100% sure where they run. But yeah, it basically, it's like the old Xarvis is, but with the 3 new settings that the Xarvis XX has, which is the torque level, the torque start point, and the BEC voltage. So yeah, it's a super easy system to use. It's literally, I mean, I've even reassigned the access to it by pressing and holding the home button. So literally, I press and hold the home button, and I connect to my ESC and make some changes, and then press right, and it's done. And it takes just a couple of seconds, so it's beautiful. I love it.
So this basically brings back some of the things you would do with the Tau 2 and the brain unit on the old IRA ESC, where you can do remote, which is great.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pick up your car, take some wires, and mess around, put the body back on. You can just do it on the fly, really quick, except for then big updates. I think, right?
Yeah. Well, even big updates, you can literally do everything you need to do on the transmitter on the ESC apart from save files. And I've been begging Futaba to make that happen, because essentially there's no limitation as far as I'm aware that will prevent it happening, apart from they need to assign an engineer to sit down and write the code to make it reliable and work. So
there's a memory card in the Futaba.
Yes, a micro
right?
SD. Yeah. Which is
so then maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's already storing files. It stores some things. It stores your settings and things like that. Not so that they're easily recalled to a different transmitter, but it is possible to pull them off on a PC using their software. It's not something I've done, to be honest, because it's generally not that difficult to get back to where I was when I have to change. When I changed from a 7px to 7pxr, it took me all of 10 minutes to manually put my settings back to where they would normally be. So yeah, but it's something I've asked them for. It's something I'm hoping they will make happen. But we'll see. It's certainly not happening anytime soon. And this next update, I don't think will include it. Although, like I say, I don't actually know what Futaba are adding, so maybe there's some magic coming.
So when is this coming to customers and to users?
Everything should be mid-April. So about a
mid-April.
month, basically a month, I think it'll be. I don't have an exact date. I've just been told mid-April. And this little adapter is also going to be available at the same time. So we'll be getting a load in stock at RC Boss. But I'm going to test in the next couple of days to see whether you can update it using a standard servo wire that's just male to male, full size. Because I think maybe that's a possibility. But I haven't tested yet because I just needed to make sure it worked, and I didn't want to break something. I just got to make sure
the little cable really looks like it's just 3 wires. Just an adapter from plug to plug. So.
It literally is. So I can't see why that wouldn't work.
Yeah, if you take the pins out, then you should be able to. But
yeah,
it's a bit sketchy. Probably not recommended. But
no, for sure. And like I say, I'll do some testing. I've got some spare servo wires. So at some point, I'll grab another S-Bus adapter and see if I can update it. And if it works, I'll mention it on one of the Pacecast episodes. But for now, I just need to do the testing I've been asked to do and not break anything. So we've got to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah, not like the first time with the new XX ESC.
No, well, that's just testing, thorough testing. You don't test stuff unless you break stuff. Had to try it.
At least we know switching the polarity is actually safe.
Yes, yeah. At least. Apart from for your capacitor. But yeah, that was,
yeah, but that's always the case.
And it just means I now have a spare, so it's good.
All right, what else do we have?
Well, the next thing we've got, I thought was new, but Tijs thinks maybe isn't new. I saw DS Racing posted a load of pictures of new tyres. They have the F2 and the F5. I've never seen these before, but Tijs had. So I put this down.
For me, they look familiar, yeah.
I was hoping to be able to find some more information out about them, but unfortunately I can't find anything, and I didn't have a chance today to message DS themselves to ask them. So I think it's probably just a case of these are older tires I'd never seen. They certainly just look like sort of fun practice tires for being out and about. They
If they are the same ones that I remember, then yeah, they are really. I think it's also in the name. I think they're called Drift Street or Drifter Street, something like that. And it's really made for driving outside on pretty coarse asphalt or concrete or something.
Yeah, that's what they look
really
for.
Prepared track.
Yeah, and
so
actually, if you look in the
aiming.
inside of the tire as well, it looks like there's grooves for the rim to slot in to sort of help the tire bite in place. I think that supports that. Has anyone in chat used these? Because I just never seen them. I must have just missed that announcement whenever they came out. They do look. They like Tijs said to me before we started the stream. They look like the old Yokomo tires.
Yeah, I think I'm
with the
pretty
rings.
sure these are one part.
Yeah,
like a 1-part tire. It's just plastic, but it looks like there's a ring in the middle. But maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's 2 different types of plastic. I have no idea. But yeah, I think they're out for a while already. But like you say, I haven't really seen anyone use them. So
no, and I've never seen them in person either. I've never seen them in any shops or anything like that. So
me neither. No. So maybe that's the new thing we can figure out if they actually work or not. And where.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I think we'll skip past this since we don't have a lot of information. I added this to the show hoping I'd get the information today, but like I say, there's not a lot there.
Yeah,
the next
Stefan
one
also confirmed here that they're like a cheap outside tire on the chat.
So we were right. So moving on.
All right. Exciting news.
Exciting news. I mean, for sure, man.
I like Toyota body shell, especially the sedans. So there you go. Big 4-door body shell that we haven't had before. There's plenty of crowns, but not this. What is it? JZS 171 model.
Yeah, I forget the crown numbers, unfortunately.
Yeah, JZS 171. That's the type. But at least it's the Taniguchi body shell from anyone who's watched Hyperdrive on Netflix. They will recognize
they'll know the car for sure. Remember it jumping. Maybe not so successfully.
Exactly. Losing the bash bar. So this one still includes it. This is a pre-jump, the pre-jump look. But it's really cool. I actually ordered one of these already.
Have you? Well, that's quick.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, this morning.
And what's the price?
It's about €60.
Is that
kind of depends where you get
before shipping? I'm assuming.
Before shipping, yeah, just the body shell itself. I think it's 5,800 yen, just over 6,000 yen if you order it from different shops. But yeah.
And
it comes with a bunch of stuff.
Was the shipping expensive, or was it not so bad?
It's just your regular shipping from Japan, so it's somewhere between 20, 30 euros. Depends which service you go for. I mean, EMS usually is a bit more expensive, but then again, it's also quicker.
Yeah.
So let's see when it comes in. If I have it, I'll show it here on the camera.
Are you gonna paint it police style, or are you gonna do street body?
I'm gonna go for the style. No, I think I'm gonna do a replica. I think it's cool. It's super recognizable. So I imagine taking this to, for example, a demo show or something, and people will recognize this as the car from Hyperdrive.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I think it's funny. It comes with a bunch of stuff like light buckets. It has the light bar on the top. Which
the
is
boomerang style.
3-piece. Yeah. You can also see the wind deflectors here on the side windows.
Yeah, I actually didn't spot those. That's very cool.
Yeah, some of the Tetsujin bodies also have it, which is pretty cool. I haven't mounted them yet, so I think you just have to glue it. Which if you're only do it when you're a bit skilled with the glue. But yeah, you can see the front push bar is also Lexan piece. Which I might end up 3D printing. And it comes also with the police logos, like the little
cool.
emblems on the front grille and the back.
That's very cool.
So you can switch it from a normal Toyota body shell to a police car, basically.
Yeah, I think that would be very cool. I think it's, especially with those sorts of wheels that it's got on there, I think it's going to look badass. It definitely needs to be slammed. That's the only thing. It's the only rules. But I think I may have to get one ordered as well, to be honest. I think maybe I'll do one as a street style, but...
Yeah. The only thing I haven't seen is how wide it is. I'm assuming it's going to be around 200 mil, but I don't know. It doesn't say. So we're going to find out.
I think I can't see that being super narrow.
No, it has the white fenders as well.
Yeah.
And if it's a big body, it's like a big car, so it has to be pretty wide. Um, and if you look at the windscreen, actually, it looks pretty wide too. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited about this one. Another four door to drive around with, and the proportions of a crown like this are pretty good.
Yeah.
I think to drive with. Yeah,
I reckon so for sure.
bit of JZX size and dimensions, I think, which
Yeah.
I always prefer. For me, that's the best to drive with.
I think it's cool as well. It's good to see somebody else making bodies, and it's obviously a recognizable body, and it's something he's very well known for. Even, to be honest, even before the Hyperdrive show. But he's a super nice guy. I've known Taniguchi since 2014, and he's a real friendly guy. I've done a bunch of drift days with him in Japan, and he's super well respected in the real drift world. He's, even when he was doing Formula D, he gets announced as Teacher Taniguchi because he's taught so many of the top drivers, and so it's good to see him getting into RC stuff, and hopefully he'll maybe consider, if this goes well and lots of people order them, he might even consider keeping, a nice line of unusual bodies coming. Should be very cool.
That'd be good. I mean, he likes JZXs and stuff too, so
yeah, he's a big JZX 90 guy, and he makes all his own knuckles and arms and stuff like that as well. So maybe he's the next full size tuner to end up getting into RC stuff. It's been a while since we've had a new one. Or
maybe this is the start of like a scale hyperdrive track somewhere. Maybe
that could be fun.
Get this body shell in the air too, 4 wheels off the ground, jumping over a bridge.
Yeah. Need to find a way to get some.
Once I have it.
Need to get some sparks going. Need a bit of titanium underneath or something. But it will definitely be somebody, and also maybe somebody needs to recreate the hyperdrive run with RC stuff, doing all the cinematics. Yeah. That's a surefire way to get yourself a few million views, I'm pretty sure.
Definitely. I've seen the Hoonigan Burnyard track as a scale track already. So this is a good next one to do. Although I don't know if the water traps will be a good idea.
No. You could just do like and bag everything. It'll be okay.
Go like the buggies.
Yeah. Hello to everyone in
next
chat.
Up,
just saying a quick hello. I've realised I've been ignoring people.
Quite a few people watching.
Yeah.
And I'm also always surprised by how many different countries people are from, which is cool.
Yeah, for sure. I've
some places I don't expect people to be into drifting because I never really see it, but yeah, it's great.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, I guess next up we can move on to the Grip Zero round.
Yes, as we keep asking already for a few episodes, send us in any events that are going on, because then we're happy to share it. And this one's from not the past weekend, but the weekend before. But this is the round 1 of Grip Zero in France. So they have both regional and national competitions going on in France. So this one is the first round of the national championship, which usually has quite a big crowd actually coming to it, because it's a big country and a lot of people tend to actually travel to a lot of the rounds, which is great. And this was in Léonon, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, in France, and they did both rear-wheel drive and CS, which I find cool.
Yes,
because I think they're one of the few who are still doing CS competitions.
Yeah,
and these guys are actually they're actually quite good still at CS. A few of the names that have been driving for quite a while, and they're still sticking to CS.
Yeah,
which is cool to see.
I think a bunch of them are crossing over and doing rear-wheel drive as well. They're not sort of holding out for CS only, but yeah, it's very cool.
No, but they're not moving away from CS, at least.
No, and like I've said many times, I think CS definitely helps keep your rear-wheel drive skills on point. So I think it's a good move for everybody.
Yeah, and next to competition with the driving, they always have best body as well. That's what this podium picture is from. So I'm not sure exactly on the names of who won best body. I think they do like a top 3. So there's not necessarily a winner, but just the best 3, which is nice because there's a lot of entries usually, and a lot of really nice cars, as you can tell from the pictures we saw already. I do know that the guy on the right in the picture is, one of the winners is Dylan. He's from La Drifterie, a French YouTube channel about RC drifting. he also supplied us some videos we'll see later. So
yeah,
that's cool.
a little tip for anybody posing for a best body photo: hold your body. He's the only guy that's not got one. Can't see what's
true.
won.
It's the orange and purple as we saw a little bit before.
Okay, that's cool.
In one of the pictures, yeah. So yeah, and then the funny thing is they drive on Yokomo tires too, which I think a few episodes ago we talked about how pretty much everyone is on DS Racing, maybe MST, but never really on Yokomo.
No.
Here we go, another competition on Yokomos. I didn't know.
Do you know which one it is? Is it the DRC? I'm guessing.
They're the DRCs, yeah. So the surface here was painted concrete, so I think it's a pretty good match, and you know the speed from the pictures or from the videos looked pretty good.
Yeah, so, we'll get to those shortly.
Clearly, they work pretty well. Yeah. So this is the CS podium.
Yeah.
So we had a top qualifier, which was Victor Servo, and he also won the CS competition. So yeah, pretty good weekend for him. That's the guy in the middle with the Forrest Wang body shell. So congratulations to him. And then we also had a podium for rear-wheel drive, I think.
Yeah.
There you go. And you can see him, he's back. So he didn't just win and top qualifier and the competition itself in CS, but he also got second place, I think, in rear-wheel drive. So that's pretty good. And then top qualifier was Julien Bourget. We know him from the Tony Sport team and the Yokomo team, but he didn't make it in the top 3. So yeah, maybe that's a bit sad. I don't know what happened, but the winner is Thomas. So congrats to him as well.
We've got a few videos as well.
Yeah. So we can see the track layout a little bit.
Yeah, so here's a quick clip that shows you the layout. It is only a short one, unfortunately, but it looks a decent size. I was surprised, to be honest. I saw the pictures first, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. And you see the track, and that's bigger than the world's track, it looks like.
It is, yeah. And that's the cool thing about Grip Zero, at least the national. Usually all of the tracks are pretty big. I used to go to the one in Rouen in the south of France, I think for like 3 years in a row or something like that. And that's always quite a big asphalt track as well. I think it's also on the calendar for this year, but I'm not sure. But it's if you ever want to travel to a competition in France, I would highly recommend going to one of the Grip Zero competitions, because it's always good fun. Level's pretty high, and the guys they are a bit better at English now than they were a couple of years ago. I mean, they're very friendly, but it's sometimes difficult to have a conversation. But it's getting better and better. So they're always very welcoming.
I was going to say, when they came to Seoul, it was fine, and that was 2014 probably. But yeah, it's again, I say it every week, but this is another competition that's on my list of places I want to go. Unfortunately, there's far too many competitions.
But it's worth to go back to, I think, for me as well. I used to do this together with Bob. I think we went like 1,000 kilometers, a bit more usually, to competitions, but it's well worth it.
But yeah, like you say, the speed looks really good.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like I've never used a complete unknown, because nobody here even has them, I think.
Is that the sorry, you broke up? Was that the DRCs you're talking about?
Yeah, or any Yokomo tire.
Okay.
I've never really used any, and I also don't know anyone who has them. But yeah, it's cool.
It's funny because we used to use the R4s and the R2s and stuff a long time ago, and then there was a big gap with nobody using, or nobody really that I was aware of using Yokomo tires. And the DRCs came out, and I've used the DRCs a few times, but I've only used the DRAs at the Futaba, I think. I'm pretty sure that's the only place I've run on them. And even then, I think there was a better option available for sure. But there's some really nice videos. Who did you say sent us these videos?
It's Dylan. He has the La Drifterie YouTube.
I'll after the show, I'll update it to include a link to his channel for sure.
Yeah, it's all in French, so for me it's a bit difficult, but it's usually very high quality videos. So anyone who speaks French, definitely go watch it, because it's worth it. And then the pictures were from Itsuka, so also thanks to him to allow us to use some of the pretty pictures.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like I say, I'll update a link after we're live. Just have to dig it out. But yeah, so thanks again for sending the videos. It definitely makes it easier to sort of visualize what's been going on when you've got a video, I think. And they don't need to be huge, don't need to be super long. Just clips like this are great because it gives you the right vibe and lets you see the layout and the style of driving and the speed and all the things you want to know. Martin's just corrected me. Apparently we used the DRAs at G-Worker as well. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, but that's asphalt, right? It's the same kind of asphalt they have at but that's such a specific surface that I don't think any asphalt surface here in Europe, at least, is going to come close to what they have at Yotabe and G-Worker.
No, I've not encountered anything for sure.
No, because that's another reason why I've never even bothered to try them, because I know they're designed for a surface that we don't have.
Yeah, they'll work on plenty of surfaces, but they'll be best on those on the super fine asphalt for sure.
Yeah, well, clearly on painted concrete, it's worth a try.
Yeah,
looking at the videos.
Yeah, for sure. And like I say, I'm sure that's the DRCs, and they definitely work on a few situations. I think when they came out, Yokomo sold them as concrete and carpet tires, if I remember right, or maybe it was just carpet tires. But they, I've used them on both, and they've been fine. No better or worse than other options, but they do the job well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And then let's move on to.
You've disappeared there, Tijs. Let's move on.
Sorry. Let's move on to the next thing. We called everyone out on Sunday, I think, to show us what they've been up to. Because with the coronavirus, we spoke about it last week a little bit already. Many people are working from home now. I think a lot has changed since last week Tuesday. A lot of tracks have closed. A lot of events are cancelled. So basically, this means a lot of home time for a lot of people, which
a lot of project time.
I mean, it sucks if you have to work from home or maybe not even be able to work at all. But you do get a lot of hobby time, so
yes, for sure.
That's a positive. So basically, we asked everyone what they've been up to, what they've been building, maybe some things they've put off for a while. Here's an entry from Jochem from the Netherlands, and he's building this crazy hybrid car chassis. Basically, it's YD2 parts, YD4 parts, GRK parts. I know Jochem's really into the GRKs, and this is all in a custom 3D printed deck. So I'm curious to see what this will end up as. But looks like he's been very busy, basically grabbing all of the parts he has laying around and building something out of it.
Yeah, it looks very cool. One of the funny things is one of my favorite drift chassis I've ever drifted was a GRK with a YD2 gearbox bolted to the back of it. But this is like the opposite of that, where it's
exactly.
It's got it's literally the opposite. So it's kind of cool to see for sure.
So this is basically the leftover parts from the other car you've driven.
Yeah.
They're on here now. Props to Jochem for building something pretty crazy. Curious to see how it will work.
Yeah, so hopefully this looks like it's nearly done. Just needs some wiring up. And
since it's the GRK parts, probably no top deck either.
No,
so
we'll need
YD2 as well, actually.
We'll definitely need an update on this one, I think.
Yeah. So send us some pictures if you're further along in the build. Maybe even a video once it actually is dry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so this is the next one. Stefan Kroner. He sent us his lightweight project. We also discussed this a couple times already in the past episodes. He's been trying it out. And I think he got to, in the other picture you can see it probably if you have it. But
it's 1210.
He got just over 1200. Yeah.
1210 with the body, which is pretty good.
With the body, with a normal wing, light buckets, mirrors. If you look at the chassis picture, also there's not much that looks strange.
No, it's also running Haroon's wheels.
Or something. Yeah, those will help probably because they're pretty light.
And very high traction as well, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's so interesting that he got to 1210 with.
It's funny because it doesn't look crazy stripped or anything. It's still running some aluminium parts and still running a fan and things like that, which I've seen people take off to save some weight. So it's kind of cool.
no extra short wires or
No,
anything like that.
no.
Aluminium battery mount,
Yeah.
normal lipo. I don't know if that's the same battery that's in
I
the
don't know if it's just a picture, but
chassis when it's on the scales.
it does look a fraction skinnier than a standard. It looks like the short
Yeah.
lipo, the 1S size that I've seen a few
Yeah.
manufacturers make, but I'm probably wrong. It's probably just the picture and the funny angle, but yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, impressive that he got to 1210 with no crazy mods.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is the next one that I got in. This is Stefan's DIB. So I think he's spending his time at home now, sort of getting back into CS maybe a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good move.
I
Good
think he
move.
bought this at the Worlds. Yeah. So this just your average DIB, I think, but yeah, pretty well spec'd. All of the upgrades,
Yeah.
some Suzuki rear arms, all the A arms in the front and stuff, which, if I remember correctly, were an upgrade always.
Yes, they were.
Even
Yeah,
with
for sure.
even with the high spec DIBs.
Yeah.
So I think it has pretty much everything you need on here to get to.
It looks like it to
pretty
me.
much the highest spec you can get for a DIB. So that's cool.
It takes me back a while. I never had a had a red one. I had a blue one and a gunmetal one, but I never went red. And now I think it's the
my
color I
DRB
choose.
was red, so for me this is nostalgia.
But he's got some tasty upgrades already. Nice.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if he's actually using the overdose decks, but they do look pretty cool.
I'm a big fan of them, especially since it's kind of era specific or appropriate. I think it was the cool upgrade to have when they came out.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the few things that hasn't been touched on the chassis in the other pictures, the bottom window. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And so next up, we've got Surian from Australia. At least I think he's from Australia, if my memory serves me right. And he's building or working on an FRD. But more specifically, he wrote in to let me know that they're actually starting a new class at his local track, where they're going to be running FXXs and FRDs, so only front motor chassis, 17.5 motor limit with no boost, and they're all running Corollas and sort of, I guess, specifically, he just said or similar, but I'm assuming it's anything that's not, crazy D1 spec bodies, so, Corollas, old Skylines maybe, and just anything that's a bit sort of low power car. But it's pretty cool. He's down to 1307, which is pretty good for an FRD with what looks like aluminium gearboxes and a bunch of upgrades.
Yeah,
but no body.
No body shell though.
No body, but a lightweight body is another 150 grams or less.
Yeah.
So it's lighter than it looks. I think it's funny. Sometimes you pick up an FRD or an MRD or something, and they're so heavy, and then another time you pick one up that appears from a distance to be the same spec, and they're pretty light. So there's a real sort of choice selection, I think, if you wanted to go lightweight with a wrap-up chassis. But yeah, it's
the idea of having a separate class, that sounds super interesting. I know I've been talking about it for a long time with a lot of different people on the Worlds and whatnot. Big competitions with so many entries where, to me, it doesn't really make any sense to enter if you already know up front you're going to end up like on the 150th spot or something like that. So then having something else to sort of put your focus in, it's going to be great.
I think
especially the idea of low power and like a simple, at least a simple electronics tune if you don't have boost and don't have turbo.
It's something I've attempted to do a couple of times over the years, is to get people involved and go for. I think we tried to do a front motor thing at Seoul back in the day, but for me, one of the things I tried more recently was to get people to just buy a stock chassis, like an RMX or a GARM or something, and just everyone run exactly box settings, no changing of camber or caster or anything. Just everyone run exactly the same settings, all run the same ESC with the same tune and everything like that, with a low power motor, and that way it's not chassis and tuning, it's just working on driving. And specifically that idea was to get people to run team drifting better, to run sort of triple or 4-car class, and get everyone matching better and mimicking better, because that's something that at the time we were struggling to do. I think everyone was this was a few years ago, so people were focused very much on getting rear-wheel drive cars to be very fast, which just meant that there was constantly gaps opening and closing, and the trains didn't look so smooth. But I think this is a really good idea, and I think provided that everyone can kind of try and match each other with weight balance a bit as well. So this has the battery over the back, which is all well and good, but for me, you need to make sure everyone's doing the same thing, or you're going to have cars that are faster on certain parts of the track and slower on others. And to me, this idea works really well for getting people to match. But in terms of competition, yeah, like you say, to have like a stock class like they would have in racing, I think is a really nice idea as well, particularly for beginners and people with lower budgets, to be frank. You know, if you don't have the money to go all out and buy all the latest gear and the fastest stuff, something like maybe not with the wrap-up chassis that well spec'd, but you know, a basic entry level chassis would be amazing, and I think more people should go for it for sure, and it's something I'd definitely support in any competition I was involved in.
And I think the body shell will also help, because if you put a D1 spec body shell on this, you might want to go for that driving style too. You won't really be able to tell the difference from the outside who's driving what kind of setup. But if everyone's sticking to a stock looking body shell, so like a Corolla indeed, or maybe just a completely standard body S13 or something, which in stock spec in real life would probably also not be too fast.
No, for sure.
And that would be great, because it sort of incentivizes you to stick to that kind of driving style, you know, like low power, gain speed, and then flick it in.
Yeah.
Sort of let it slide.
He's going for the N2 style, which is kind of cool as well. It's one of my favorite looks. So I'm assuming this is a Mikuni kit. I could well be wrong, but it looks
Addiction probably then.
Sorry, Addiction. That's the one I did actually mean. Yeah. I put one of these together a few years ago and ended up selling it before I painted it. Just I knew I wasn't going to do it justice, so I sold it off to JR, and I think he's just cut the arches off and started using them on an S14. Incidentally, I just found out this weekend. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we've got Robert, who's I've actually seen this car in the flesh, but he's basically got a kamikaze gun that it looks like he's been doing some wiring on and stuff like that. He was very keen because he's a big kamikaze fan. So he drifts. I've drifted with him a few times here in the UK, and he's also got a kamikaze YD2 SX2. So he's currently working on these and a body that he sent me, but currently the body is I think it's an Addiction S13, but it's just all of the pieces in the world. It's one of the ones with about 75 parts. So it didn't make for. In fact, I did put the post there, but it's the full detail crazy. I think it's the BN. I can't remember the box art for which one it is, but yeah, I thought it was kind of funny because, again, one of these bodies I don't have the patience for. There's too many pieces. I start them and I lose interest when I cut out the 15th piece, and I'm done. I always aim to do it, but I just need to pass them off to somebody else to finish.
This is the good moment for it at the moment, though, because now you actually have the time to paint 100 individual pieces of Lexan, basically, and glue everything together with precision,
take my time to make sure it's all right. And but I don't
have any differences in paint,
I think
color and stuff.
You couldn't have a better time to put a body together like that. Like you say, it's perfect. So anyway,
need something to pass the time.
Yeah. Now just paint 3 of them for your team. It'll be all good. Great. Next up, we got Pascal, and he had a body where the paint reacted and didn't go so well on the roof and on the sides. So he's doing some updates, which I think is kind of cool. I've got a couple of bodies that have gone bad in the past, and they're just in a box in the garage waiting for a moment like this. So maybe now's the time. Maybe this has inspired me to go and pull it out. But it's gone from what you see there to that, which is quite a transformation, I think. And that's also a really nice color. I'm assuming it's one of the Tamiya metallic blues, but then matted. And I think that looks superb.
Might be the PS dark blue, the one without a number.
Yes.
I've seen a few people go crazy about on Facebook in the past few weeks. I think some of the Americans have been hoarding every can available in the world to do some team body shells in this color.
But I think it's
a nice color.
I think it's a wicked idea to use some time to just take a gamble and try and make an old body that didn't come out so well look better. You've not really got much to lose, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to fix these things. So it's a perfect time to put them out and try and sort of make something positive from it, I guess. He's also
that's one of the top tips actually to do right now when you're stuck at home because you might not want to buy a brand new body shell and lots of new paint and stuff. So just grab an old one off the shelf and find some leftover paint
or
you have and just
maybe you
go
can't buy
nuts.
anything. I attempted to buy a couple of RC things today, and the shops are closed and not shipping because they're not working at the moment. So yeah, sometimes you won't be able to get hold of stuff, especially over the coming months, I think, or weeks at least. So now's definitely the time to gamble on an old body and just try and resurrect it. So there's a couple. Also, rather than just the bad ones, I've got a couple that I want to pull out that were old, slightly beaten up bodies and try and tidy them up a bit because I love them. But Pascal also has a very different thing, making mini people for their track for RC Drift Palace. So I think that's awesome. It's actually all the guys, I guess the local drivers there, will be represented on track even when they can't be there.
I did something very similar a few years ago. I don't know if you remember, but at Solar C we had a bunch of Miley.
Yes. You're gonna have to repeat that story because you just muted yourself as it got interesting.
Yeah, so I back in the days when Solar C was a thing, there was a bunch of Miley Cyrus figures. But that basically started because we had a birthday party drift event from Florian, from the German guys, and I basically made a scale version of him to put on the track, and then that was right around the time when all the wrecking ball memes were happening. So Bauk and I built a few of those too, just for fun. But yeah, this is a cool idea.
Yeah, I think it's super cool. I think more tracks should do fun stuff like that as well, and less of the action figures and more of the real people.
Exactly. No more wrestling figurines with the really big joints in the arms and stuff. They don't look too good.
So anyway, the next one I think looks super cool. I am not going to be able to say your name, I'm afraid. It's a Russian name. It's one of the guys from DR.
Vyacheslav.
There we go.
Yeah.
I would just butcher that for sure. But he's basically, they've got a DR conversion for the drift package. And I think this looks awesome. I mean, obviously it's...
well, in this picture, you wouldn't be able to tell it's a drift package.
No, definitely not, because there's not much drift package. I
don't see a single drift package part.
No, for sure. But it does look super clean, obviously. And yeah, I think it's... I think that's, in terms of having a project, I mean, this is, I guess, something they're going to sell. It looks like it's got some 3D printed parts and some custom carbon. I don't know if they already are. I don't have the information, I'm afraid. But I think that looks ace. It looks a little bit buggy-like in terms of shape, but it looks different. And, you know, if you've got a drift package conversion, and it looks like this is probably something that's been refined over the years rather than just starting out like this, I think. But it's... yeah, I mean, they're Waddy 2 knuckles from the looks of it. But interestingly, he's using, what did he say it was? It's Team Associated buggy front axles, which fit the Yokomo knuckles with the variable offset from 5 to 7.5 mil. And they are 2 grams, it looks like. Assuming that's
it's basically what Rev D also has now with the aluminium axles.
Yes,
but indeed, this is all stuff that's derived from buggies.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
to be fair, YD2 is, you know, a cousin of the YZ2 buggy.
Yes,
so it makes sense that
I would probably say it's a bit closer than cousin. It's more like a sister, for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, I think this is wicked, and I really like the look of this. I want to see some more pictures when it's all finished and wired up, because I can imagine I want to see what the back half of this chassis looks like, whether it's using a standard motor mount or whether it's using a Nervis. I'm sure there's pictures online, but unfortunately, after I got this yesterday, I didn't have a chance to go and do some digging. So I'm hoping to find something or find some information out very soon.
If this is D-Art, then the back half would probably also have a bunch of custom parts.
Yeah.
I know those guys have been working on drift packages for a while and developing like the X-Dock kind of front suspensions, but also messing around with the rear and custom carbon decks and stuff. So yeah, they've been doing a lot of cool stuff.
It's a shame because I can't really see the steering too well, but I'm assuming it's essentially like the Rev D style, not Rev D, Revel style with the carbon plate. I'd like to see some more pictures. So, like I say, I'm gonna have to do some digging, I think. But to me, I think that looks awesome. So good job, man. But But yeah, I think that's all the ones we're going to have time for today in terms of user projects, or viewer projects, I should say. Unfortunately, I got sent a bunch more, some of which I just haven't had a chance to get to, and some of which didn't have any information attached. So it's very difficult to talk about something when I don't really understand what the picture's of. So if you're going to send us something, if you can send us some details of what it is and if there's any story behind it. Asif sent me a really nice post with a bunch of different chassis he's got on the go at the moment, but unfortunately I didn't think we'd have time for it today, so we'll save that one for another week.
Asif projects, yeah.
Yes.
But people have been busy at least, so that's
yeah, for sure.
Maybe one thing extra to mention is that if all the tracks indeed are closed, events are cancelled. If you're gonna store your car and all of your electronics and stuff for a while, maybe this is the tip of the day. Use storage mode on your
sure.
on your battery charger for your lipos, because they don't like to sit around either completely charged or completely empty. I think the advice is to charge to somewhere around 30% of the capacity.
I think generally a little bit higher than that. I think it depends who you talk to and everything like that. I basically leave mine at 50%, so sort of 7.7. And since I spoke to a load of battery manufacturers, I don't know, it's probably 2 years ago, because I was having a lot of problems with batteries swelling and puffing, and they all individually said to me, lipos should never be left with power in them. So if you're done at the track for the day, you should go into storage mode and take the power out of them. And also the other big tip that I'll put out there is you should always rest your lipos between charging and running. So when you finish running on track, leave the battery for 5 or 10 minutes before you charge it, and when you're finished charging, leave it 5 to 10 minutes before you run it. And since I've done that, I've not had any batteries swell up on me. So it's
same for me actually. Yeah, they've been lasting for quite a long time, even the cheaper batteries. So good care of your batteries will help it.
If you're not going to run for more than a couple of days, just put it in storage mode. It only takes a short time to charge up, and you can do that just before, while you're setting up your pits or whatever when you're at the track, or if you prefer, you can do it before you leave. But even a week between running is not ideal for batteries. They'll deal with it, but they might be healthier if you put them in storage mode between sessions, for sure.
Yeah, for me it's a routine to do it while I'm basically saying goodbye to everyone and packing my bags, just to charge them quickly to like half the capacity or something like that. Somewhere between 30 and 50.
I will generally do the same, and if it's time to get out, I'll just leave, and then when I get home, I finish it off at home. I never like to drive with batteries fully charged, because I've had a couple of customers over the years have lost full-size cars to lipo fires while driving home from events. Admittedly, one of them was a racing a buggy guy, but he lost a E92 M3 when it was pretty new, to a lipo fire that was out of control before he could stop on the motorway. So to me, it's not worth the hassle. I'd rather just spend the extra time.
Yeah, exactly. And I always tend to forget things like that when I get home. I just put my pit bag down and go do something else. So I try to do that at the track as much as possible. Just make it part of your routine.
I was going to say it's a good habit as well, and especially if you're if you know you're getting to the end of your day, then just don't charge one of your lipos when you go and run the other one. Leave it low and just put it on storage charge while you go and finish your last battery, and run your last battery to close to lipo cut, and then do the same. Just finish it off on storage mode on your charger. Most chargers have it. Actually, the high-tech charger I'm running at the moment has storage mode, but you can't adjust any of the settings for it, which is the first. I've never come across a charger before where you can't change any settings. So it likes to go to 48%, which is fine. That's where you should go. I generally will just go to 50 and kill it. But yeah, it's definitely a good tip. And one of the other tips you mentioned as well, Tijs, is not leaving your chassis on the deck, so that all the weight of the chassis is on the dampers and springs. It's something I'm pretty guilty of doing, I'm not going to lie. Most of my chassis get left on a desk, but they get moved around enough. I'm generally
I always put my chassis stand underneath the pit bag.
Yeah,
just as a habit. It's always on the chassis stand, just to make sure that the dampers have the maximum amount of life. They don't start leaking. I mean, it's not like you're going to get flat spot on the tires because they're hard plastic, but at least for your dampers, it's better to just leave them dangling instead of having all the weight sitting on them, especially for a longer amount of time.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, at the moment, with all the events being cancelled, no one's really sure how long you're going to be sat with your chassis and your pit bag. If you're going to go out and do some street drifting or something, that's one thing. But I mean, now it looks like almost all the tracks in the UK are going to be closing I think within the next week, if they haven't already. A bunch of them already announced that their next dates are postponed, and I think it's going to become a higher and higher percentage of tracks are going to have to do the same thing. So if you don't know exactly when you're next going to drive, just put your batteries in storage mode, take care of your car, use this time to do some maintenance as well. That's a good thing. I've seen lots of people doing builds, but it's just as important to strip your car, clean it, take care of that thing you were meaning to take care of, measure everything, make sure everything's even and running and operating smoothly. It's one of those things. A lot of people, I'm okay at doing maintenance. I'm pretty disciplined and I'll do it every couple of months, but at the worst. But there's a lot of people that don't touch their chassis for more than a year, and those guys should definitely be using now to strip it down and also just identify if something's wearing. You know, if you haven't opened your gearbox in a while, just check it, because your gears might be fine, but they might be starting to wear, and you need to get some ordered. It's better to find out before they die.
And it's also a good moment to just switch on a Netflix show, do the tedious tasks. Just pull everything apart, clean it all up. While you're watching a show.
You could even watch Spacecast. You know? Yep, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. What better time, huh? And also, I think if you're doing something like that, dampers, rebuilds, whatever, and you come across some issues or want some tips, send us some questions, because maybe that's a good topic for another show sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Just send it in if you want to hear anything about it from us.
As we keep banging on every week, but we want suggestions and ideas of what people actually want to hear about. It's quite easy for us to sit and talk about stuff we want to talk about, but Tijs and I have different experience to some other guys, and maybe there's a load of stuff that we can, or tips that we can share with you guys that we're happy to do. We just need a bit of a prompt, I think. Sure. But I think that's just about us for this week. Unless there's anything we've missed. Is there any questions from chat before we disappear?
Well, I did see that the DR chassis we just showed from Vyacheslav is actually indeed direct steering.
Yes.
So he cleared it up straight away.
Yeah.
Good note to mention.
And I can see that
no more questions. I see.
Shilly's working on a body. I sold him the D-Max Sylvia. That I bought it, saw how many pieces were in the box, and sold it straight to Shilly.
Another 3-dimensional puzzle. Yeah.
But yeah, well, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it every week, as always. And if you can subscribe and share the video, that'd be much appreciated, because the more viewer input we get on this, the better we can make it, for sure.
Exactly.
And if you want
watching.
If you want a t-shirt like these, there'll be a link in the description, so you can dive on and get yourself one. But thanks, guys.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. See you next week.